All right, let's go into this hand here. So I have ace of clubs, king of clubs, which is a premium hand according to the poker model. So aces, kings, ace, king, these are hands that we want to try to get all of our chips in pre-flop. Aces and kings is pretty obvious. They're dominating almost all the other hands. The reason you want to get all in with ace, king is because any pocket pair below ace, king, you're going to be 50-50 against. Any other hand that has an ace, you're going to be dominating about a 70% with a 70% edge. And of course, your opponents could have aces or kings when you have ace king. But the reason we don't worry about that is because we have an ace and a king in our hand. So it would be very unlucky for another player to have both of those cards in their hand if we're holding one of those in our hand. So here we go. So I have 9,500 chips, which is about 48 big blinds. The small blind is 1, big blind is 2. And my goal here, like I said, is to get all in. So let's take a look, see what happens here. I'm sitting under the gun +1. The under the gun player folds, and now the action's on me. So basically, because there was no raise in front of me, I don't have any way to 3-bet or re-raise, as a lot of people would call it. So instead, I'll come into the pot and I'll raise to 400. So I'll be now in control of the hand. If any of the players behind me 3-bet me, then I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of thinking, okay, any of these small stacks, I'll call the all-in. And if it's a larger stack, well, I'm going to make a 4-bet, again, in an effort to get all my chips in. So let's see what people do. My raise is working so far. It's isolating people and giving me control of the hand. I get a call from the cutoff, and now I'm thinking, okay, if everybody else folds, then I'll be in a position to view the flop, determine if it's a good, bad, or mediocre hand like we talked about in the last video, and make a continuation bet to try to win the pot or build the pot and maybe check to see if there's more cards that could come if it's a mediocre hand. But we're still not done pre-flop. Let's see if anyone else comes into the hand. Okay, so we actually have a raise here now from the big blind. So me sitting here with ace king, I'm pretty happy about this. I'm thinking that I might actually be able to be all in right now. Now the player from the big blind could have, again, aces or kings, but it's more likely that he has something that I'm either 50-50 against or dominating, and there's also a chance that he would fold, which, you know, I would win this pot right now with little resistance and little risk. So with the action being back on me, I'm going to make the 4-bet here, again, trying to get all my chips in right now. The player behind me, I would have expected him to fold because he probably would have 3-bet me instead of just calling if he had a big hand like that. So no surprise that he's folding. And now if the 3-better from the big blind goes all in, then I will call. If he calls, then we'll have to take a look at the flop. And if he folds, I'll win the pot right now. Let's see what he does. All right, so we get a call from the big blind, and the flop is queen of hearts, 9 of hearts, 5 of hearts. So this is a really bad flop for me. This is actually one of the worst situations that I could be in right now with ace king. And the reason for that is I didn't get all in pre-flop. The flop itself has really not helped me at all. And really any heart that my opponent has, any queen, 9, 5, it puts me at great risk to lose the hand. I'm most likely not even winning at this point. There is a chance, but it's unlikely that I am. So the action starts on him, so I get a chance now to see if he does something like move all in here. I'm going to have to fold my hand and keep my stack over the 20 big blind mark, which is fine. You know, I can still win the whole tournament with this stack. If he checks, then I'm going to be in a position to make a continuation bet. It's not a standard continuation bet, but it still is, because although we've raised back and forth, I'm still the last raiser and the action is over to me. So I still have the ability to make that continuation bet. Let's see what he does before we go too deep into this. All right, so I do get a check from him, and I have to be careful my size of the continuation bet. So you can see there's 5,900 in the pot, and if I make a bet of 3,000, you know, which is just a medium-sized bet because it's half the pot, I'm essentially putting him all in right here, and I'd have to call if he moves all in over the top or whatever. And I don't want to be in that position. So what I want to do is make a relatively small bet, smaller, and kind of put that pressure on him to fold, And I have to know right now that if he moves all in, I got to get out of the hand. Also, keep in mind that my stack will never go below 4,000 chips here because that's our threshold. We don't ever want to be like calling and then folding or betting and folding under that short stack mark, because that's the chip amount we want to have when we're moving all in and making, all in plays later. So again, no matter what happens here, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to make a small bet here. If he folds, I win. If he calls, we'll see what happens. It's probably not likely I'm going to get help, but if I do, we would talk about that at that moment in time. And if he moves all in over the top of me, unfortunately, I have to fold. And it's just one of those hands and those flops where ace king didn't work out for me. Let's see what he does and what I do. So I make the small bet. He moves all in, unfortunately, and I have to fold. So this hand's going to go over to him, but I'll live to fight another day with my medium stack.